Dear viewers, how did Prophet Nuh build such a massive ark for the great flood, and that too with the help of just one tree? And who was that giant who ate the food of 10 people all by himself? Why did that giant help Prophet Nuh? Furthermore, how did Iblis, Satan, get onto Nuh's ark? And why did he create a rat from a pig? What did that rat do? After the pigeon delivered the news, what did Prophet Nuh do next? We will explore all these mysterious events in today's video. So, let's begin. When Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam, failed to guide his nation to the path of justice and truth despite trying his utmost for a long time, he grew despondent and prayed to Allah, "O Allah, do not let these ungrateful servants of yours live on earth anymore. Destroy them." Allah Ta'ala accepted the prayer of Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam. Then Jibreel, alayhi salam, came and said, "O Prophet of Allah, Allah the Almighty has declared that He will destroy the disbelievers by submerging the entire land in a devastating flood. You must build a massive ship. You will take your believing followers onto it. Along with them, take 1 pair of every animal and bird, as well as the seeds and saplings of all plants. Because only those who are on the ship will be saved. Everyone else will perish." Saying this, Jibreel alayhi salam departed. Meanwhile, upon receiving the command from Allah to build a ship, Nuh alayhi salam was overwhelmed and started rushing about. He had no manpower, no necessary materials. He had absolutely nothing prepared. Yet Allah's command had to be carried out as quickly as possible. So he went to a few of his followers and said, "Allah has ordered me to build a ship. What should I do? I cannot think of anything. Please help me with this task." Hearing Prophet Nuh's words, his followers replied, "O Prophet of Allah, we will assist you in every possible way. Tell us, what do we need to do now?" Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam said, "Then come with me." They all began to act according to the Prophet's instructions. When Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam went to the tree he had planted, he was utterly amazed by what he saw. He saw that within just a few years, the tiny branch he had planted had grown into a colossal tree. The tree was 600 yards tall and 400 yards wide, becoming an exhibition piece for the people. People were traveling from far and wide just to see it. Among the devotees of Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam was a man of extraordinary strength named Ahum. He was fearless and could fight hundreds of men at once. When Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam arrived to cut down the tree, Ahum was with him. As they were about to cut the tree, many locals gathered and tried to stop them, saying, "This tree is a public spectacle for us. You cannot cut it down." Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam replied, "Allah has commanded me to cut this tree. Therefore, I must cut it." Just then, a few young men came and snatched the tool from Nuh's alayhi salam hand. Seeing this, Ahum grabbed the men, slammed them to the ground, killing them, took the tool in his own hands and chopped the tree down in a very short time. Seeing this terrifying display, none of the locals dared to object anymore, and they all fled the scene. Over the next few days, Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam processed the tree into wooden planks and made nails from the smaller branches. Then, with the harvest of his lifelong preaching, only 40 followers, he began the construction of the ship. He initiated the work with a plan to build a massive vessel 1,000 yards long and 400 yards wide. The Prophet worked day and night with his followers. Allah assisted them by sending angels. Together, they accomplished what would have been impossible for hundreds of men to do daily. After 40 days of labor, the ship was almost finished, but they ran short of some planks. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam prayed to Allah, saying, "O Allah, to complete the ship, I need more wood," asking for the shortage to be resolved immediately. At that moment, Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam appeared and said to Nuh alayhi salam, "O Prophet of Allah, there are some trees at the bottom of the Nile River. Pull them up and use them to finish the remaining planking work. Hearing Jibrail's words, Nuh alayhi salam faced another dilemma. How would he retrieve trees from the bottom of the river? Nuh alayhi salam sat down to consult with his followers. One of them suggested, Ujin is currently in our land. He frequently wades into the sea and effortlessly catches and eats fish. If we offer him some food, he will easily agree to pull the wood out for us. Hearing this, Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam took a few of his followers and set out to find Ujin Unun, Og, son of Anak, was an unparalleled son of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam in folklore. He was incredibly tall and terrifyingly strong. He stood 3,000 yards tall with a proportionally normal body. The primary crisis of his life was a constant lack of food, so he would step into rivers and seas to catch fish. It is said that he would catch fish, roast them by holding them up to the heat of the sun, and eat them. He was very simple-minded. Ujin Unun would sleep straight for 6 months and spend the other 6 months roaming and gathering food. He survived through the eras of several prophets. When Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam and his followers reached Uj, he said, O Ujin, there are some trees at the bottom of the Nile. If you bring them to us, you will be given an ample amount of food. Hearing about the food, Ujin was overjoyed. He immediately agreed to the Prophet's request and set off for the Nile. Within moments, he pulled up many trees from the depths of the river, brought them to the Prophet, and said, Here are your trees. Now give me my food. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam then handed him 3 loaves of bread. Uj grew furious and said, You promised me ample food, and now you mock me with just 3 loaves of bread. I will throw these trees back into the river right now. Nuh alayhi salam calmly replied, Ujin, do not be hasty. Say Bismillah, in the name of Allah. Take them out one by one and start eating. If you are not satisfied, then you may throw the trees into the river. Following the Prophet's instruction, Uj said Bismillah and began to eat. He noticed that the size of each loaf became enormous and the bread seemed endless. He continuously ate 200 loaves of bread, laughed and said, O Prophet, you have filled my stomach after a very long time. Thank you endlessly for this. If you ever need me for any work in the future, just arrange food like this, and I will happily do your work. Uj then noticed that the original 3 loaves were still completely intact. He said to Nuh alayhi salam, I will take these 3 loaves with me. Nuh alayhi salam replied, Yes, that is your bread. Take it. But remember, this bread will sustain you for a long time. Happy with his bread, Uj departed. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam had his companions carry the trees retrieved by Uj back to the construction site, quickly turned them into planks, and resumed the unfinished work. Within a week, the entire ship was completed. Meanwhile, hearing the news of the ship's construction, thousands of people would come daily to watch, laughing mockingly. O Prophet, building a ship in the middle of a desert, what could this be other than a ridiculous joke? Saying this, they would leave. After completing the ship, Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam waited for Allah's next command. A few days passed like this. Suddenly one day, it was discovered that under the cover of darkness, someone had ruined the inside of the ship by defecating and urinating in it. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam had no doubt about who was responsible. He was weak and lacked the numbers to confront them, so he simply complained to the court of Allah. On the other hand, the disbelievers conspired to go and defecate on the ship every day. They gleefully began using the ship as a latrine. Day by day, their numbers swelled. Soon people were coming in droves not just at night, but during the day as well, to defecate and urinate on the ship. After 15 days of this, the ship was almost entirely filled with filth. Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam would occasionally come, watch the scene from a distance and weep bitterly. Then one day, a blind man slipped while defecating and fell headfirst into the filth on the ship. When he climbed out, he realized his blindness was gone, and his face and physical beauty had completely transformed. Stunned by this, he quickly ran back to his tribe. Initially, his people couldn't believe it was him. They asked, "Who are you, and where have you come from?" The man replied, "I am that blind man. I went to defecate on Nuh's alayhi salam ship, slipped, and fell into the feces. When I climbed out, my body had completely changed." Hearing this and testing him, they realized it was indeed the blind man. To verify the truth, a group of people took another blind man at night and threw him into the ship's filth. The man dipped in and climbed out. Instantly, his blindness was cured too. He could see everything clearly. 2 blind men had regained their sight. This caused a massive uproar in the land. Now no one went there to defecate. Instead, it became a pilgrimage site for the blind. Anyone who took a dip in that ship was cured of their blindness. Every day, after hundreds of blind people were cured, the crippled, paralyzed, and lame began dipping into the ship's filth. By the grace of Allah, they too were cured. Then came people suffering from other diseases, and they too were healed in moments. A flood of people from far and wide descended upon the ship. They didn't just dip themselves, they started taking the filth away in pots and vessels. Within a week, the ship was completely emptied of all filth. Afterwards, people coming from far away started washing the ship and taking the washed water. Towards the end, there was fierce competition and scrambling just to wipe the ship clean. After 15 days, when the ship was sparkling clean, Allah commanded Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam, "Board your sincere followers and 1 pair of every animal and bird in the world onto the ship." Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam, felt very perplexed. Animals lived in different corners of the earth. How could he travel the whole world and collect them in such a short time? The task seemed incredibly difficult. Then Hazrat Jibreel, alayhi salam, appeared and said, "Do not worry about this at all. Allah will assist you in this matter." The Prophet felt reassured. He was further instructed, "Complete this task as quickly as possible without delay, because a great flood is coming in a few days that will submerge the earth." Following Allah's command, the Prophet traveled to various places and began collecting all possible animals and plants. He warned his relatives about the impending disaster and urged them to take shelter on the ship. But his relatives paid no heed to his warnings, so he left them. Meanwhile, it was seen that various species of wild animals from the jungles had miraculously gathered near the ship without any fear. Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam, approached and guided the animals into their designated places on the ship. Among the passengers, the number of Nuh's alayhi salam relatives was very small. Even his son, Canaan, refused to board. Nuh alayhi salam pleaded with him repeatedly. Finally, in a fit of anger, Nuh alayhi salam yelled at his son, "Get on, you devil!" The moment he uttered these words, Iblis leaped onto the ship completely unnoticed, but Canaan still did not board. Helpless, Nuh alayhi salam prayed to Allah, "O Allah, you once told me that you would save my family from destruction. Based on that promise, save my son Canaan." Allah replied, "You are a prophet of Allah, and Canaan is a disbeliever. Therefore he is not worthy of being considered your family. Leave him be." At that time, a fierce and terrifying storm began. Rapidly, water began accumulating on the ground. By noon, violent currents of water were raging over the dry desert, and Hazrat Nuh's alayhi salam ship began to float. Some people then tried to wade through the water to reach the ship. Back when Nuh alayhi salam had ordered his followers onto the ship, no one had ever heard of raging floodwaters in a dry, sandy desert, which was why everyone from local leaders to commoners had mocked him. But when reality struck, they came to their senses. Their faith in Allah's Prophet and his words returned, but it was too late. As the desert submerged, Nuh's alayhi salam's son Canaan sought refuge on a high mountain. When the water rose higher and submerged the mountain too, he began to chant the tasbih of Allah. But he could not escape the cruel storm. A massive gust of wind violently slammed him against the mountain, completely crushing his skull and bones. His lifeless body floated away toward an unknown decree. Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam, was safe on the ship with his companions and the animals. The ship drifted on its own accord without anyone knowing its destination. For most of the time, the ship circled the Baytullah, the Kaaba, in Tawaf. Allah, the Lord of the worlds, kept the ship intact and safe amidst this highly educational storm and flood. The passengers remained unaware of the outside world. This is how their days passed. Inside the ship, Iblis had been hiding for quite some time. One day, a wicked idea crossed his mind. He went to the pig, stroked its nose, and tickled it. The pig sneezed violently, and suddenly a rat popped out of its nose. The rat scurried down to the bottom floor of the ship and began gnawing on the wood. Iblis's plan was for the rat to gnaw a hole in the ship so that water would rush in and sink it. However, a pair of pigeons spotted the rat's destructive work. They immediately flew to Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam, and reported, "O Prophet of Allah, we just saw a rat gnawing and destroying the bottom of the ship. Take action immediately, or else this ship is doomed." Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam, rushed to the animal enclosure and asked, "Where did this rat come from?" Hearing this, the pig replied, "Yes, Nuh, alayhi salam. Iblis came and tickled my nose, causing me to sneeze loudly. Along with the sneeze, several baby rats came out of my snout. While we were on earth, Iblis had stuffed several tiny baby rats inside my nose. It is probably those rats that have come out." Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam, was shocked to hear Iblis's name. He said, "How did Iblis get on the ship without my permission?" He immediately summoned Iblis, who appeared before him. Nuh, alayhi salam, demanded, "O Iblis, how did you board my ship without my permission?" Iblis replied, "O Prophet of Allah, I did not board without your order. When you were making your final plea to your son Canaan to board the ship, you angrily yelled at him, 'Get on, devil, get on!' At that moment, taking your words as a direct command to me, I boarded the ship. Therefore, you cannot possibly call me an illegal trespasser." Hearing this, Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam, was left completely speechless. Nuh, alayhi salam, then had to think about the safety of the ship. He went over to the tiger and stroked its body. Instantly, from the tiger's body, a cat was created. He then ordered the cat, "O cat, catch the rat and bring it to me." Following the Prophet's command, the cat caught the rats and presented them before Nuh, alayhi salam. The rats pleaded earnestly, "O Prophet of Allah, we thought Iblis was an important figure on this ship. He commanded us to cut the wood, and we simply followed his orders. Now we realize our mistake. Please forgive us for our error and pray to Allah for our forgiveness." Realizing that the rats were innocent and the true culprit was Iblis, Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam, forgave them. Meanwhile, rain poured from the sky relentlessly for 40 straight days, and water gushed out from beneath the earth. When the entire world was completely submerged, only Hazrat Nuh's, alayhi salam, ship floated on the surface like a tiny water hyacinth. Amidst the endless horizon of water, nothing else existed. The ship floated continuously for 6 months and 8 days. Finally, Allah commanded the sky to withhold its rain and the earth to swallow its water. Slowly, the waters began to recede and the fierce winds died down. At this time, Hazrat Nuh's alayhi salam ship came to rest upon Mount Judy. Gradually, the peaks of other mountains became visible. The ship got lodged on the mountain in such a way that it made disembarking easy for all the creatures. Hazrat Nuh, alayhi salam, and his followers stepped out onto the mountain peak. However, they had no news regarding the condition of the rest of the earth. So, Nuh, alayhi salam, sent a pigeon to scout the land. Following the order, the pigeon flew down and saw that the water had completely dried up from the land. It returned to the Prophet and said, "O Prophet of Allah, the water has dried up from the earth's surface. The land is now suitable for habitation again." Upon receiving this news, Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, his followers, and all the animals finally descended onto the earth. The various animals disembarked and set off toward their respective destinations across the globe. The followers of the Prophet looked around the earth's surface and saw that there was absolutely no trace of anything left. The world had been wiped entirely clean. Just then, Iblis approached Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam and said, "O Prophet, you have done me a great favor and saved my life. Tell me, how can I serve you in return?" Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam replied, "O Iblis, Satan, get out of my sight. I have no need for any of your services." Hearing this, Iblis insisted, "O Prophet of Allah, I do not wish to harm you. Since you did me a favor, I want to do you a favor as well." Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam asked him, "Tell me, when you haven't spared a single human being on earth from your mischief, what harm have you managed to do to me?" Satan replied, "Prophet, I have never tried to cause you major harm. However, one night, after you had eaten a hearty meal of ostrich meat, you fell into a deep sleep. That night, to make your sleep even heavier, I kept you engrossed in colorful, vivid dreams so that you would miss your salah, prayer." Hearing this, Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam exclaimed, "Astaghfirullah, I seek forgiveness from Allah. I will never eat to a full stomach again in my life." Hearing the Prophet's vow, Satan retorted, "Astaghfirullah, I too will never tell the truth to a human being again." Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam then dismissed him, saying, "Now leave. I have no need for your service, and insha'Allah, if Allah wills, I never will." Satan then departed. Afterward, the children of Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam and his followers began to populate and live on the earth once again. The Prophet of Allah, Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, lived for 950 continuous years, preaching the religion. He passed away on Mount Judy and was buried right next to the mosque there. This was our video for today. If there are any mistakes in the video, please be sure to let us know in the comments. Along with that, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us. Amen.